Since Edward Jenner tested the first vaccine prototype in 1796 by scraping dead infected tissue into the cut of an 8-year-old boy, pharmaceutical companies have come a long way in making more efficient and better vaccines than ever before. The problem is, not everyone is choosing to get them themselves or their loved ones vaccinated. This choice has some major repercussions that affect not only oneself, but those around them. According to the history of vaccines.org, only about 10 out of 500 people are not vaccinated against deadly diseases. Today, my colleagues and I plan to enlighten you on why this is such a problem, the effects, and some solutions for the issue. The main problem is that not everyone is getting vaccinated, and it may only be a small percent of the population that chooses this path, but it kind of defeats the purpose for everyone else that does. It puts them back in harm's way. To put that into perspective for you, if someone tells you that you are 1 in a million, that's just a polite way of saying that there are 7,000 other people just like you, making you feel not all that special. The bottom line is that only about 2% of the population that you meet on a daily basis is not vaccinated, which means that they run a huge risk of playing host to a deadly disease. When you play host, you give the disease a chance to evolve, become stronger and or different, which gives the disease a fighting chance against vaccines, making it be no longer immune. The vaccine causes immunity. A good example of this is the measles. It was once thought to be eradicated. Despite knowing this, many people still believe that getting a vaccine is out of their budget and not necessary for them to receive. But I assure you that the cost of getting the measles would be catastrophic in a financial sense. For example, you would be out of work for weeks and you'd probably rack up a hefty medical bill. So that makes it a strong economic decision to not run the risk of more financial insecurity. But that still runs the risk of you being a liability to the general public. Because not getting vaccinated means that you are not only a risk to yourself, but to those around you. So, especially those that are immune suppressed, for example, the elderly. But when we have an entire population that is vaccinated, we have what's called herd immunity. And believe it or not, herd immunity is not only seen in humans, but we see it in other species. For example, ants, this action has been seen in ants, but to fight against fungal infections. But unlike ants, humans are a little less trusting of where the vaccinations come from.
People don't trust Big Pharma because they believe that Big Pharma is just looking out after their pockets and not the clients. Sometimes you come across someone that is anti-vaccine due to the fact that aluminum salts are found in some vaccines. There is such a minute dose that it enhances the immune system's response. The conspiracy that pharmaceutical companies are making millions is completely false, and to this day has still not been proven true. Media and different organizations help shape the fear towards vaccines. People hear of all the side effects and begin to think they are feeling them out of paranoia. Naturalist doctors with no credibility tell their patients to keep pushing against vaccines, causing a feedback loop. Many opinions are out there on how we should handle vaccines.
All right, so the solution to this problem is not really an easy one. People don't like to be told what to do. People aren't receptive to force. So what can we do? One big thing that has shown to work is community outreach. Instead of having a big corporation come down and tell you to get vaccinated because it's what's right, really the best way you can influence this is by peer-to-peer discussion. There are basically like two types of people that don't get vaccinated. The first type are the people that are so entrenched in their beliefs against vaccinations. For whatever reason, they do not want them, they don't support them, and whatnot. As you guys may know, people that are so steadfast in their opinions are very hard to sway. They may be seen as beyond saving. What you can do with these people is stay calm, don't get angry with them or anything. Just give them facts and stats. Don't attack their character. If you do that, it could show that they could just be more entrenched in their beliefs. The second type of person that doesn't vaccinate is the one that is really not as educated in the topic. They're just not sure that they want to do this. And this is really the type of person that we should be focusing on, who we should really focus on, like I said. Just when you're talking to them, you don't have to come off as any expert or anything. Just tell them like some facts, some stats, and really tell them to ask their physician, because that's where most of this information is going to come from, and they're going to trust their doctor more than they're going to trust you. Another thing you can also do is point them in the direction of reputable websites and academic journals. That way they can kind of do their research. If they come to their own conclusion about vaccines, they're more likely to believe it. Researchers are constantly working to find different strategies to get people to vaccinate. One way we can find these strategies is to see what didn't work. According to a study from Dartmouth College in 2014, pro-vaccination messages from public health agencies can actually backfire. What people do is they see these pictures of kids with measles and smallpox and whatnot, and they associate vaccines with these pictures of sick kids they see. It kind of goes against what they're trying to do. Also, these ads have no conclusive results or anything either. So, like I said, people just don't really like being told what to do from a big corporate agency. What does work, though, is to change how physicians ask their patients about vaccinations during their checkups. Instead of really asking them if they want to get vaccinated, just say that they're due for a vaccination. That way, because no one really wants to get stuck with needles or anything, they're always going to try to put it off. If a doctor just says, hey, you're getting vaccinated today, they're more likely to just go along with it and not really opt out unless they have very strong beliefs against it. And truly, the only surefire way that we can get rid of this whole trend is by educating our children. Really, what we can do is teach these kids while they're young about vaccinations, why they work, and how they work. And that way, when they grow up and they have their own kids, this whole generation will just be full of kids that are pro-vaccinations. So not getting vaccinated can have major repercussions, as we all know. Today we talked about how troublesome the anti-vaccination movement is, why people don't vaccinate, and how to help combat this trend. Really, overall, this anti-vaccination trend is a huge problem in the US. They don't only put their own lives in danger, but they put people that they come into contact with in danger every single day. We can all fight this problem by educating your peers and eventually your own kids, just nipping this trend in the bud and raising a whole generation of people that vaccinate. Thank you.